Hey, there's Bijal, and welcome to Be Epic today. And we have a very special guest who's kind of changed my mind or my thinking around coaching. I kind of backed away from one-on-one coaching because of the long hours that it would take to do one-on-one coaching. But I recently came across something which has made me rethink the whole coaching model. So first of all, Rob, welcome to the Be Epic today.
Thanks, Michelle. It's great to be here.
And you're coming to us live from Puerto Rico, is that correct?
That is correct. I moved from Colorado Springs and now live in Puerto Rico.
How long have you been in Puerto Rico?
It's approaching a year. We love it here. It's beautiful. Hurricanes and earthquakes have been kind of crazy, but yeah, we love it here.
Perfect. So Rob, tell me, how long have you been helping coaches? I read your bio. It's been a few years, but first of all, how long and why did you kind of fall into helping coaches? With how they coach.
Sure. So a well-known name in the coaching industry is Christian Michelson, and I was friends with Christian before he quote unquote made it big. And as he started to have success in his company, I asked, "Hey, could I join you and help you with some of your marketing?" So he brought me on board. And I was on Christian's team from 2007 to 2014. Over that time, I really got to know the coaching industry. I got to make friends with a lot of Christian's JV partners. And then in 2014, I decided to see if I could build my own list and make products and programs and irresistible offers. And yeah, it was really successful.
Now, I know, and I really want to kind of focus on this because the way I got introduced to you was through this concept of the fast laser coaching model, the 15-minute coaching sessions. And when I first came across this, I was a little bit skeptical. I was like, okay, this is just another way to sell something to coaches, because there's a lot of that going on out there, Rob. A lot of people who haven't made it as coaches now trying to teach coaches how to make money in what they couldn't do themselves. So which is unfortunate, but that's just the nature of the beast right now. But tell me, how did you come across this 15-minute coaching model, and does it truly work? Does it truly get results?
Sure. So yeah, I was scratching my head about how to get some more coaching clients, and typically when we enroll a client, it's for higher fees. It might be $500 a month or $1,000 a month or $1,500 a month. I think my rate at the time was $2,000, maybe $3,000 a month, and I thought, well, I could work really hard and do a lot of strategy sessions and maybe I'd get a client. And then I thought, well, how could I make the coaching offer so irresistible that I could just send an email out to my list and get some clients? And so I thought, well, what if I gave them unlimited coaching with me? And I thought, well, that feels kind of heavy. So I thought, well, I reflected on coaching sessions and realized that a lot of the coaching calls I had a lot of fluff in them, a lot of how are you doing, and yeah, a lot of chit chat, or hey, we've still got 35 minutes left. What else should we talk about? That type of thing. And so I thought maybe I can try this. Maybe I can offer unlimited coaching with me in 15-minute sessions for a full year for some crazy low price. And I also realized that's a lot of overhead or commitment on my end to offer that kind of coaching program. So we need to have some checks and balances. And I thought, well, what if on each coaching call, the client had to do homework before they could schedule their next call? That way they're not just filling up my calendar with 52 sessions a year or more than that, with it being unlimited. So I created a homework rule and I rolled this out, and 8 people signed up when I first sent an email out to my audience saying, do you want this unlimited coaching with me? And the price was $997. I actually offered a discount for people who had already bought something from me. In retrospect, I shouldn't have done that. It sells really well at $997. And over the course of the next year, I enrolled over 50 one-on-one clients into this laser coaching model. So I was actually coaching 50 people at a time. And my wife was nervous before I rolled this out and started selling it again and again and again.
I'm getting palpitations just listening to you right now, because as a coach who's done one-on-one 1-hour sessions, and the reason I stopped doing them and went to group coaching was because of that. But I still know that there's still clients out there that I can't really help in a group format. So hence why I kind of got reinterested in, does this really work? So first, well, I have to kind of challenge you. Can you really do a 15-minute coaching session, or is that just kind of yeah, it's 15 minutes. I say 15 minutes, but really it's going to be half an hour. Have you got it down to a science where it really is 15 minutes?
Yes, I do. In fact, I've got a course on how to do the whole thing, but in that course, I give language around how to make sure that the calls are just 15 minutes. I'll try to recall some of that. What I like to say is when there's like 6 minutes left to go or 4 minutes left to go on a call in a 15-minute window, to let the client know, not 5 minutes, because that sounds like approximate, but if you say, hey, Bijel, I noticed that we only have 6 minutes left for our session. Let's go ahead and identify the homework you need to take to move you forward before we have our next call. And so by saying that, that kind of gets us on focused and on track to figure out what your homework should be so you can make progress. Maybe it's an exercise I've created, or maybe it's just something that I know you should be doing. If I'm a weight loss coach, maybe I'm telling you to throw out all the cookies in your cabinet, whatever it is. But and then another way to really wrap up the call is when you notice the time is up, to say, okay, Bijel, so what I'll do is I'll send you a recording of our call today, confirmation of your homework, and a link to schedule your next call once your homework is complete. I found that once I say those magic words, the call is over. And I'll say one more thing that's interesting about that is that whole 4 to 6 minute thing. When I give a client the heads up on that for the first time, sometimes the second time, but usually it only takes once, then they start watching the clock on the next call and saying, oh, I know we only have however many minutes. So it's interesting that the clients pick up on that. And then they respect your time. And those 15-minute calls really can be only 15 minutes. In the first year I did it, all my calls were 15 minutes. I don't think there were any exception. Over time, sometimes I'll be a little relaxed about it, and I'll tell the client, hey, I know we're about to hit our 15-minute limit, but I've got some time if you want to keep talking. So sometimes I'll just be relaxed about it, but you can keep them to only 15 minutes.
So, I have cheated. I have gone and looked at the testimonials. I've actually spoken to some of the clients. So I do know this is very genuine. But as a host here, I'm going I want to challenge you, because people listening, don't have that benefit of having talked to your clients, and then they may be a little bit more skeptical about this conversation. So, but I'm just going to say to you, so that you know that I've actually talked to a couple of people, and in fact, someone I recently just referred to you is going through the program right now. So this is just genius. So first of all, that's a kudos right there. So let's talk about, is this just applicable to life coaching, business coaching? Like, which industries can this model be applied to? Because this isn't just for coaching, because a few of the people I saw weren't actually coaches per se, but they're able to apply this in what they did and still benefit from the approach, correct?
Yeah, so really the key is it works in every niche I'm aware of. I've got one coach who's enrolled a bunch of clients. He teaches the Quran. So, I mean, it can work in religious niches. It can work in business. It can work in health. It can work in relationships. It can work in EFT, like all these different areas. The key is that the coach needs to understand and know how to get results for the client. If you don't know how to help your client, you're going to have a tough time coaching them. You might sell some, but you're going to have a tough time delivering and collecting those testimonials. But yeah, it works in every niche that I'm aware of.
So some people are listening to this, and they're starting to ask the question, hey, I wonder if this would work for me. How would I take maybe my group format and add this to my group format? Or maybe I take my hour per hour coaching and apply it to that. What should I be thinking about in terms of whether this is a right thing to explore? And by the way, folks, if you're watching this and you want to go through Rob's training on this, go to fastlasercoaching.com. That's where Rob actually breaks down the concept of the 15-minute laser coaching approach in more depth. But yeah, so going back to the question here, Rob, people listening to this and say, hey, will this work for me? What can you tell them in terms of the starting point of deciding if it's the right approach?
Yeah, so one of the objections or questions I get about this program is, what are my high-end clients going to think if they see that I'm offering this bargain laser coaching of $1,000 for a year with me when they're paying multiple thousands per month? And I wondered the same thing, and I told my high-end clients about it. I said, hey, do you want to move into this laser coaching? And they said, no, I like the time we spend on the calls. And the metaphor that sort of works into play is laser coaching is kind of like a gym membership, and then high-end one-on-one coaching is like a personal trainer. And so the high-end clients, they wanted to stay with their personal trainer and have accountability and regular weekly calls and so on, and that's fine. Plus, you can shelter those clients from your offer if you don't want to invite them to become laser coaching clients. As far as group coaching versus laser coaching, I see both of those as a downsell to high-end one-on-one coaching. In other words, if you're on a strategy session, you might say, well, Bijel, I've got this high-end coaching program that's $3,000 a month, and we meet once a week for 2 hours or 1 hour or whatever, and get results. And you might say, well, Rob, I'd love to work with you, but $3,000 a month is out of my price range for this. I'm sorry, we can't work together. Well, one thing you could do is offer group coaching as a downsell. You could say, hey, that's okay. I've also got this group coaching program. You'll be with other people but you'll still get the same support and so on. Or the laser coaching also makes a great downsell, saying, well, Bijel, I hear that you can't afford the $3,000 or that doesn't feel right. I do have this other program which breaks out to less than $84 a month for a full year of unlimited 15-minute one-on-one coaching with me. So in other words, the laser coaching is a good downsell if people want you one-on-one. The group coaching is a good downsell if people want more of your time, but in a group setting. So it's really kind of two different concepts for the downsell. What I like about the laser coaching is that it is one-on-one with the client. So rapport is really high, and this program lends itself to other upsells. So I've had a lot of laser coaching clients upgrade to have a VIP weekend with me. I'll say, hey, why don't we take the $997 you've spent on the laser coaching and upgrade it to this higher end VIP weekend. It's like going from a gym membership to a personal trainer, and you can take all the money you've spent at the gym for that full year and we'll apply it toward the personal trainer. That's why it's like you got the gym or the laser coaching for free, and they love that.
That's awesome. So, Rob, let's just talk about the industry right now. I mean, there's a lot of things happening. A lot of coaches struggling to get clients on board or selling their high-end programs. Would this be a substitute? Would this be a time to look at this as a substitute, or something that you feel is easier to sell in this current climate?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to sell in this current climate. People will buy anything from you if there are two factors in play: trust and an irresistible offer. So people need to trust you as an expert and as a person. If they trust you on those two levels, the expert who can help them get the results they want, and as a person who's not going to just run off with their money, if they trust you, then all you need is an irresistible offer. And laser coaching is an example of an irresistible offer. And it can be sold so many ways. I had one client enroll the passenger on an airplane sitting next to her because they built trust through conversation, and she simply told the person about her laser coaching program. I enrolled 10 people at a live event by just wandering around the room, building trust through good conversation, and then letting them know about my laser coaching offer. So the irresistible piece, right, for the laser coaching is the price. It's unlimited for a full year of these really time-saving, energy-saving 15-minute calls. But the price, instead of saying it's $1,000 for a year, when you frame it as it's less than $84 a month for a full year of unlimited 15-minute laser coaching one-on-one, yeah, people love that, and it's irresistible.
So hearing that, Rob, so when we think, okay, unlimited, what have you found is the typical number of times a client will actually use that the access to the laser coaching? What is it in actual per year time per client?
Yeah, it's the exact number is 7.2, but it's somewhere between 7 and 8 sessions per client. Now, some clients might have 20. I've had some clients that have just 1 or sometimes 2 laser coaching sessions. And the guy I'm thinking of that had 1 said this first session paid for the whole thing because I got so much value. But on average, people will have between 7 and 8 sessions. And again, that gym metaphor works really well. If you think about people who join a gym, they work out a lot in January, but then February they're working out less, March they're working out less. And so over time, they just don't use it as much. But that's when you can step in and say, Bijel, I noticed that you're not using the laser coaching as much as we thought you would. Why don't we take that money you've spent with me on this laser coaching and upgrade you to this higher end program with more accountability, where if you don't show up, I'm going to kick your butt and hunt you down and coach you until you get results. So the laser coaching is a great first step for clients to get to work with you. But if the average client has between 7 and 8 sessions, then the coach is actually earning about $500 an hour for their time spent coaching because the coaching sessions are so short.
That's fantastic. So, Rob, let's say someone's listening to this. I think, you know what, I might give this laser coaching thing a try. How would you recommend they start? What's the first steps of letting their community, their list, their tribe know that they have this new way of coaching them? What's some of the recommendations you have?
Sure. Well, I'd really like to endorse the webinar that you mentioned, the fastlasercoaching.com URL. If people go there, they can watch a 26-minute webinar that explains the whole model. And I don't hold back, just like I'm not holding back here. I'm sharing all this information. So it's more organized than just answering questions. So that might be really helpful. But really, the course itself is broken into 3 parts. One is how to sell it, because everybody wants to know, how can I start selling this coaching? The second is the technology you need to use, and it's just 4 different areas, like using Zoom for your calls, having a calendar scheduler, a way to get paid, and a way to take notes on the clients. And then the third part is how to get results for clients in just 15 minutes. And we've touched on some of that with some of the words to say. But really, you don't have to have a big email list. You really just need to be able to get in front of people who want the results that you can help them get. And if they trust you and want those results, then the laser coaching is an example of an irresistible offer you can make to them.
That's awesome. So I'd like to kind of just share my own personal experience, Rob. So I had a client actually out of India, and we set it up as an annual one-on-one coaching program. And it's okay, and the last week of every month would have our 1-hour call, and we did that up until I think maybe March or April, right when kind of COVID thing really took effect. And then I kind of switched to more of this laser coaching methodology. And so, look, you call me when you need me. And then there was the action item. And the result was, he hit a 10-year-old company, went to 0 revenue, had a whole team in place. And so he was the CEO of the company. And, on one of the calls, I said, okay, great. And what he did as a response to the challenges is he had 3 brand new income streams, or his existing one and 2 other income streams up and running. I said, great, look, I want you to choose one. Choose one, and this was all within literally a 20-minute conversation here. Choose one, and for the next 10 days, all you're going to do is focus on doubling down on this thing. And anyway, so he did that, and we kept having our calls. It was about, again, 15, 20 minutes about every 3 to 4 weeks in this period. But he was able to create a 28,000 per day result, literally within 30 days of starting this. So that's just my own personal success story with kind of nice. Adopting to this kind of methodology. But what's one of your biggest coaching success stories? Like someone who's been in this laser coaching with you and just had an incredible, maybe you can't mention names or business, but just in terms of what they did and the result they're able to create by being a client in the program.
Yeah, it's a good question. I'd have to go back and look through testimonials. I don't have anything in my short-term memory right now. I mean, there was that one guy that said the one session we had paid for the whole program. I don't remember the exact results he got, but out at robgoyette.com, there's a testimonial section with lots of success stories. So that might be a place people can go.
I'll post a link to that because there are some great stories on that page. I was just wondering if there's any other story that you could think of, but absolutely no
worries. I didn't prepare
for
that. Sorry, yeah, there's not one in my head.
I'm sure you've coached 1 or 2 people during your time. Rob, so what's next for you as a coach and as someone who's helping coaches? Where do you see coaching as an industry going? A lot of people are jumping into coaching right now, which is good, but it's going to make a lot of coaches have to go and step up their game in terms of marketing. So, any kind of last words on how to stand out from the crowd in this what's becoming a kind of a busy coaching space?
Yeah, I think the easiest marketing advice I can give that applies now and in the future and in the past is to be as authentic as possible. If you try to be something you're not, and then you show up differently as yourself later, that kind of causes clients to say, whoa, who am I talking to? But if you are as authentic as possible, what you're going to do is you're going to attract the people who resonate with you and want to work with you, and you're going to repel everybody else. And it's okay to repel everybody else. Some people watching this right now probably don't like me for some reason or don't resonate with me, and that's okay. But some people do, and the ones who do will come into my world and get really, we call it nurtured, but get a whole lot of great content to help them with their businesses and say, oh, I really resonate with this guy. I really like this guy. I'm going to stay on his list for a long time. So I think just being as authentic as possible is probably the best business advice out there. Another piece of business advice is just in general, you want to build and nurture an audience and then make irresistible offers to that audience. And laser coaching is one example. Group coaching can be another. VIP weekends are another. Masterminds are another. An online course is another. So you can come up with a bunch of irresistible offers, but if you're always focused on building and nurturing that audience, the people who don't resonate with you will leave, but the people who do will stay. And the more authentic you are, and the more, I'd say, almost bold about really being who you are. Like, I'm drinking Diet Coke right now. Most of my audience, they shop at Whole Foods and like drinking all this healthy stuff, but I don't hide that because that might turn off some people and they leave, but I think people just really appreciate honesty and authenticity. And so I would just say, be as authentic as possible, build and nurture your list, and then make irresistible offers to your list.
Rob, again, so thank you so much. And folks, if you want to learn more about Rob's 15-minute laser coaching method, just go to fastlasercoaching.com. You can watch a free webinar there. Rob truly breaks it down in terms of why this works, how it works, and how you can get started with this if it speaks to you. So if you're a coach, or you're thinking about coaching, or you think you might be able to add a coaching element to what you do, again, go to fastlasercoaching.com. Rob, I wish you, your family, your two sons, much happiness and good health out there in Puerto Rico. Again, I want to just thank you for being on the show. Any last words before we say goodbye to you?
No, just I appreciate you sharing me with your audience, Bijel. And if you don't already have coaching as a part of your business, you may want to consider it. If you're thinking about using the laser coaching model or really getting started in coaching, again, it's just really important to make sure that you know how to get results for clients. If you don't know how to do that, become an expert first in helping them both with what they want and what they need, and then you can start coaching people. So anyway, all that to say, I really appreciate being here, and thanks for having me.
Well, Rob, so we have a special wave on this show. So from me to you, it's time to buzz off, buddy. Bye for now.
Bye.
Have fun. See you soon.